I don't see Giselle yet, but we're going to do a little intro, allow people to come in, share out a little bit, and then she'll be here by then. See you in just a second. Jumpsuit journey, fallen leaves, Kundalini energy, vital, magnificent, cobalt blue. Till the pink expands, show your hands, blood dries, death never dies. Come alive, stop looking outside for your next boyfriend or bride. Till you know thyself on the inside, where you ask the whys, why the hate, why the lies, what about my own crimes to myself? Ill health, soul ain't that stealth. Can't you hear it calling? That's you hollering, excuses stop bothering. Presidents perched high, blinded my third eye. Media culpability is kings, queens, pimping the real diamonds of society. Think for yourself, cause they think we can't. What the hell? What story you gonna follow? Heaven and empty tomorrow, cause the soul stands for the day. Nothing else to say, get your rocks off, make fear the slave to your own universal self-talk. The one where the brothers come, the sister stars, the ones we call gods, they help you understand that every woman, every child, and every man is the same clan, same brand, not a fashionable stance. Chuck the religious nonsense, diligent, relevant dominion is our dominance, unalienable birthright to be free. Lawless laws, churchless synagogues, there is no fear to fear in the depths of solitude, the holy groove. All we got is a world to lose, but we still got me, and we still got you. So let your hair down, move that thing around, soul can't be denied, kill the lies, brings the shine, lit the film from your eyes, hell yeah, I seen the light. It's bursting right out of your eyes. Those blessings, burdens, and burdens, blessings, turn your head around, lose the frown. Find your crown, brother, it's time to get unbound. I will see you down on that soul highway where the grass is green, golden triple beams. Angels scream the silent songs of the rainbow warrior gods, the Teslas, Jesus, Buddhas, and Allahs. Bring all the goddesses, bring all the gods, because they're standing right next to you. It's your neighbor, lesbian, Muslim, Japanese, Gentile, Jew, gay, trans, straight. Bring the party home now. We got this thing, let's bring it. Live it, love it, build it, sing it. It's a soul revolution, resolution, DNA redistribution, contribution, abolition, absolution, a soul solution. I see you on the other side. Hey, wait, man. It's on this side now. Wow, yeah. It's done. Just letting this matrix play out. Yeah, without a doubt. All right, then, let's celebrate. Let's create, innovate, stimulate. It's time to get our asses up and shake. Time to make up for all the breakups and for all the time we thought we lost. Todd Medina, SoulogyOneStudios, wishing you peace, power, protection, and big love for you and yours. One. Hang on now. Oh, wait. Hang on a second. All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
What are you doing, Giselle? What's happening?
Technology, my gosh.
That's the mark of a true light worker. And I saw a post our beloved sister Amanda Lawrence did this morning, one of those little memes she does, and she said, big energies coming in, and the linear thought and basically motor skills may not be in congruence. So in other words, you're going to feel like you're out of your mind. And you can't do
Or,
anything 3D. What's up with all that?
or you're unable to follow instructions like I was. It actually said how to do it, and I kept punching the button. So, so glad to be here.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
it's like
talking about.
all the directions.
So what's happening in Austin, Texas, my home state? What's happening over there?
Austin's doing
What's
great.
going on?
Austin is just on fire. There's a UT football game yesterday. There's so much energy here. There's a beautiful conscious entrepreneur crowd here that I've been meeting and mingling with, and it's going great. I really love the energy. There's like a resurgence here of consciousness and leaders.
Man, I think that's going on. We keep pointing to the very, recent past, with so many of these elevations and activations and whatever you want to call them. But since the 1st of October, I mean, the energy, everything I'm picking up on anyway, and I've been out in this cabin in a remote area in Northern California in the middle of nowhere, which is beautiful, but I can still feel the energy collectively, and I can feel it with the work I'm doing. And there just seems to be like something's lit, man. I don't know what
We
it
are,
is. I feel like,
lit.
yeah, we are lit. Yeah. I saw Sandra Walters post this morning about her meditation she does every Sunday. And if you guys haven't checked those out or participated in them, you might want to consider. She's doing 4 a day now. But anyway, the tone, the frequency, or the combination of frequencies that she was talking about, the different elements she was pulling in, and what she was talking about from the meditation, I think from this morning, the first one this morning, was the same thing I read like in 4 different things that I read. I only read like 6 or 8 things when I woke up this morning. It was all about that being lit energy. Like, codes are coming down, they're affecting everything. And most of all, it's like, wow, like, wow, what can we co-create? You mentioned a conscious entrepreneur community in Austin. I mean, what does that look like? Because so many people have talked about how they can't utilize the old 3D methods of constructing and controlling. There's like this free flow merging. It's almost like a big orgy. All this energy is just coming together, and I mean, it's in a beautiful way, though. I don't mean in a right.
We are in receivership. We are now in divine receivership. Whether we're consciously aware of it or not, we are receiving these magnificent codes coming in. Speaking about Sandra, I just saw her. We spent some time together in Sedona a few days ago, had a great DNA conversation. She's doing amazing work, and there's just so much happening. And I think when I say like we're in receivership, I want to just say, my first thing I want to say is like, we can kind of all relax a little bit. Like the energy is surging. We're in it. It's happening. And, we can kind of release the panic button a little bit. Like, are we going to make it? And all of that. And just kind of relax into this resonant, responsive relaxation, because that's where we receive even more.
That's a very good description. I love that resonance, relaxation. What was the third one? But for me, what was it?
It's relaxation. The point is just like relax.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was going to say. That's the one that jumps out. I like the resonance and the one we forgot, but relaxation, that's the one that really jumps out, because
Right?
it's crazy. It is. It's like, I don't know, that's why I think the brevity, the humor, when you bring it into it, and like, just like chill the F out, man. I mean, it's like, you know what? We
Hey,
got
earth
this.
to earth, us to us, we've kind of made it. We've made
Yeah.
it. We're gonna make it. We're here. We're here for one thing, and that is to just like experience a more divine existence and to become more godlike. We're all turning into these beautiful spiritual beings that are receiving these codes, and we're all just like doing one thing, and that's embodiment. We're embodying this divinity, and we're getting more and more God in the body, which is my favorite subject these days. I love talking about that because What's the whole point of being on Earth? We're not trying to evolve into a lower form. We're all just evolving into higher forms, enjoying more, experiencing more, creating more, living more, being more lit. And that is all just really receiving more God in the body, turning these vehicles into fully lit amplifications of God consciousness.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. It's like, you know, you wake up and you go, you know, because it gets a little complicated. That
Yeah.
has, you know, and we can still have our moments where you're shedding these 3D things and dealing with three-dimensional, I want to say, you know, third-dimensional energy or whatever you want to call it, less awakened energy or whatever the patterns of behaviors that are still alive in us that we don't know. At the same time, you're pulling all this stuff down. You see your friends going through the same thing, and you know, it's like, I don't know, is it as easy as just take a breath and accept it and allow it and relax into it? Because I don't know, maybe the biggest challenge from this point out is just getting used to it. Because you're right, you know, we can stop panicking or stop pushing the panic button.
Exactly. Giving ourselves permission to just, hey, we have permission to now embody this and just, you know, have the pleasure of creating now. We have now stepped into just being able to do that. But it's kind of like we have a phantom consciousness. Our phantom consciousness still wants to struggle. It still wants to think we're not there, think we're not enough. All those old phantom core beliefs that limit us.
Yeah.
They're just kind of there operating because we haven't learned how to operate without them yet, but we can kind of give ourselves permission. And that's why we're all talking like in a group like this, because we're all figuring it out together. Like, how do we drop those phantom programs that keep us
Yeah.
in those lower states?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's like, you know, whatever, everybody's got like a different, the universe communicates to each one of us in a unique fashion, the universe to ourselves, whatever. And, you know, through that communication, there's all types of different descriptions or experiences or perceptions or whatever you want to call it, perspectives. You know, it could be angelic, it could be galactic, it could be this, it could be tied to a past life, it could be all these different things. And even those things now seem to be falling away in terms of exclusifying anything to any one individual or making something unique to an individual, because it is unique, but in some cosmic kind of way where it's the paradox, it's both, you know, it's both ends of the spectrum. But it's interesting now because you see people dropping their armor and dropping their labels, and you know, it's almost like, you know, I ran into someone the other day and it was kind of funny because I knew him pretty well, so it wasn't an insult. He's like, I'm a shaman. I said, I'm a shaman too. Nice to meet you. We're all shamans. I'm this, so that means you're that. You know, as well. But it's like all that stuff, all that pretentiousness, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it in an unknowing way, you know, this stuff is so powerful when it comes in. It is a challenge to those old phantom egoic characteristics and identities that we are now getting rid of.
And here's an analogy speaking to that. You know, maybe 100 years ago in Europe, like the Turkish people were the Turkish people, the Italians were the Italians, the French were the French, and you recognize all these different races. Then through America and through just the whole global activity, they all kind of blended, and no one like really looks at those anymore. Like in America, you're not really seeing every person's nationality, so it just kind of blends. Same thing with us, the galactics, the angelics, the devics, all the different kingdoms, they're all us, they're all blending now. It's all inside of our heart. So there's less distinction. Remember the time when it was like really cool to say, I know my galactic nature? Well, we're all of that, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, all of it. That's exactly right. And what's amazing is because it's, you know, it's like when one remembers, the other remembers, you know, when we can connect and merge consciously and unconsciously, because we're doing it all day long, every day anyway, you know, whether we're actually talking to a person or reading something that they've sent to us or even reading their posts, we're sending energy, we're receiving energy, but we're exchanging code. And that seems to be the vehicle of expansion, and it's in our favor, and it's like a big tsunami that's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So whatever, however you explain it, I don't know. But what I do know is that as I get to know you, for instance, and you get to know me, whatever you know, I will know. Whatever you are, I will be. I will see it in myself. So the mirrors we often think of, oh my God, this guy triggers me all the time. What am I not seeing myself? But it's also the mirrors of the true, pure divinity, love, consciousness that we see in each other, in these stories, in these experiences that we relay to each other, how we experience it. This is the essence that came to me. This is the communication that I have with the universe, this particular star family, whatever it may be. It opens up code in all of us. And I think that's why it's moving so fast now.
100%. That's called genetic sampling also, where these antennas constantly receiving, and we're much more aware now of what we're feeding the field and what the field is feeding us, because our DNA is activating. So our antennas are bigger. So that's why information can be exchanged just like that, just through contact, just through osmosis, more or less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Cosmic osmosis, full of soulgasms. And then people are having these, I know we are, but I mean, I know other people are too, but all this stuff is happening. All these individual experiences are happening and they're becoming very frequent. They're coming in at a wider berth every day. But, even like mergings or dimensional experiences, interdimensional experience, whatever you want to call it, those types of things, even with animals, even with nature, these things seem to be really taking on more clarity. They're more impactful. They stay with us longer, and they're happening more frequently. And it's happening to everybody all over the place. You see it in these posts every single day.
Absolutely, Todd.
I'm just rolling this morning. Cosmic osmosis. Laura Batista. We got 10
Hi,
people in the Zoom room, and we got about 4. Yeah, we got 44 in the Facebook house.
Nice.
So let's talk about. You sent me notes on 2 things. One was the God. You already brought it up, but the God, was it the God body? Is that what it was?
Or God in the body.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does that mean I'm gonna soon have a body like a God?
100%. That's what we're going.
Like Hercules?
That's the whole point. That's what we're turning into, the new
But
human.
what is it? That's right. What is that? What does that encompass? I guess everything. I don't want to sound cliche, but you said you talked to Sandra about DNA. DNA's becoming more and more and more of a topic in these circles. What I would call the less scientific circles. Where people are actually talking about just in common conversation. But so, what does that look like? What does that look like? What you're talking about with bringing God into the body and so on.
I want to call this part 2, our podcast, because I listened to our podcast this morning that we did 3 weeks ago, and that's part 1, because we kind of went deep into spiritual epigenetics. So this is kind of like a continuation where we talk about lifestyle. So what we're learning through genetics, DNA genetics, which is my favorite subject, spiritual epigenetics, is basically learning how to navigate our lifestyle so that we are actually becoming more godlike, more Ein Sof, more pure God state, more activated, turning on more of our higher human qualities. And there are certain ways we do this, and we've been doing it like all the meditators that are on this call who've been studying Paramahamsa Yogananda. He says, and I wrote this quote down, he says that the spine and the brain are altars of God. That's where the electricity of God flows down into the nervous system, into the world. So we've been doing this for decades, bringing in our energy, opening our crowns, keeping a straight spine, bringing it in, and activating our divine intelligence. And another word for divine intelligence is our turned on, activated DNA. So we're learning that all of these ways through being still, our practices, our meditation, and also the cosmic osmosis, the now free interchange of genetic sampling, of knowing that we are antennas in the world, picking up every vibe, every frequency there is, and reflecting that back. So we can go, I think I'm going to be a little more high vibe. I think I'm going to really place my frequency in higher frequency states. I think I'm going to really refine my field. I think I'm going to do more things to my body to train it to carry more light. So it's kind of like a fast track, and it's kind of like approaching embodiment and ascension through the high performance lens. And that's exciting because we all want to do that. We all want to accelerate the process, and we can through our lifestyle.
Yeah, true. That's true. I don't know that. That brings up a lot of stuff. You know, one of the things that comes to mind is, you know, one of the things that looks like it's changed. Well, it has changed as energy has become more of a palpable, you know, knowable, relatable thing. Is that in the beginning, or not in the beginning? Let's just say earlier on. Like you described so well with the spine and the brain, is that there was, and there are, and it was more prominent then, I think, or the majority of this connection was more in the physical to the etherical, but it's where you could actually do things in the physical that would open up those channels, so to speak, like you're describing. And now through this cosmic osmosis, I love that phrase that you coined. Through that, you actually can reach into the energetic and then transform the body, the physical. You know, you can actually program, like to me, that's what you're talking about. Programming, you can call it transformation or transference of energy, especially now where there's two or more, because so many of our journeys when we started, they were like singular journeys. It's like me and the universe. I used to say to myself, everyone may think I'm crazy and may think I'm wrong, but I know my truth, and the universe knows my truth. It was a very singular, solitary existence for a lot of us. Now, even in just interactions day to day, running into people, and whatever the case is, we can actually pick up through that cosmic osmosis, and that's carrying frequency, code, activations, whatever you want to call it, that is actually transforming our physical. Because I know I've been feeling it for the last few months, and I know a lot of people have been talking about that. So that's an interesting exchange. It's almost like a blowing up of the infinity sign, you know, where one side was bigger than the other, and now it's starting to really flow.
Absolutely. And that is DNA activation. More and more DNA activation, which is really the spiritual term. The scientific world does not have a term for that. But guess what? We're blending those worlds. So the scientists wanting to do this also, they know about mindset. They know how it affects the body. They know that we can change our genetic expression, and we can not change our programs, but we can override them. So the scientists are coming on board. Everyone's wanting to meet in the middle of this divine intelligence expressing. And I want to talk about that. You mentioned the program, and we can actually learn to override programs as well that are inherent in the body. And if I might, I want to talk about the study that just came out a couple of months ago. Does that sound okay?
Oh yeah. Whatever
And
you want
I
to
want
do.
to invite, like, many of my epigenetic genius friends are listening. Jackie, any of you have comments on this, feel free to add to it. But what I want to talk about is this test that kind of rocked the science world several months ago. It's called the TRIM report. And the TRIM report came out, and, you know, the scientists really need to have proof for all of this happening. A lot of these spiritual people don't need proof, but like I say, it's all coming together. And so the TRIM report came out, and there were some studies that actually proved we can reverse our age. So 9 of the subjects actually reversed their age by 1 year, age being defined by predictive longevity. And so it was proven by the certain formula of epigenetics, lifestyle, supplements, etc., that they could reverse the aging body. And what else they find, this is really fascinating, this is perfect for this show, is that the genes are programmed with 5 clocks that predict aging. So aging, the body is not programmed to age, or is not designed to shut down. But they found, and this is from the scientists, that there are 5 clocks that actually go off as we age and set off the aging clock. And one of them is the thymic clock. I wrote them down. The methylation clock, the hypothalamus, the telomere length, and then there's something in the blood also. So these five clocks somehow got programmed into our DNA. Are you
and
catching?
We can unprogram.
There's
and we can
got put in there during the mutation process or whatever, through the centuries or through the genetic experimentation. And so I think that's fascinating. So there's probably a way to deprogram that, and science is working towards that, and science is coming up with formulas that actually reverse the aging process. I think that's so exciting. That's why epigenetics is so exciting. We're cracking these codes.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And and again, we're merging and integrating all these different polarities, and one of them being the non-physical and the physical, or you
Yeah.
might call it the cognitive and the intuitive. So it's like you wake up every day and you hear something like that, which has so much credibility, substance, and validity, and it's like, a month or 2 months from now, because of all this cosmic osmosis that's happening, it's going to be like elementary school. It's like, wait a minute. There's like, I guess what I'm saying too is that at like some intuitive level, it's coming in. What's coming in? Like it's like that's part of that relaxation, I think, where you can get it from, or at least I can get it from, as I think about it, is I know intuitively every day when I get up more and more and more what we're doing, who we are, what we are. You know, I can't really explain it, and I'm a talker, but I feel it, and it's like you want to get up every day and you just want to kick ass and represent the universe. It's just I can't explain it. But with that intuition and that compulsion, and I don't mean compulsion in like a attached way, I just or a hard way. I just mean like we know why we're here. We know why we're here now, and there's nothing to be afraid of. And you see all these people taking leap after leap after leap, and I gotta believe with that energetic impression made into the grid, so much wisdom and so much knowledge and spirit scientific truth comes through at probably for me at an unconscious level, but I feel it. It's really interesting that we're moving into that, not emotional, but the feeling of, rather than this the talking and the other ways we've communicated in the past.
I want to address two things. I love what you just said. I wonder if anyone else feels the same way, but I know that meditation is changing. Like for me, I used to do really elaborate meditations. I'm a devoted meditator and still do. But lately, it feels like I do get up with all that energy. And I feel like all we need to do is kind of slow down and just kind of activate our light body. And so for me, it's like a 10-minute process these days where I'm just like, it's just kind of already there. Is that your experience as well?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes, yes. We've been talking about that for the last couple of days on a
Really?
couple of the shows I know of. I mean, yeah, yeah, in different ways. People making comments, people talking about it on the show. Yeah, I mean, it's somebody was on yesterday, and I can't remember because I do something I can't remember, but they were talking about. They kind of termed it like a Mandela effect thing, like okay, like actually I do remember what happened. We went into Weaverville, which is just like 8 miles up the road. It's like 400 people. We're in this remote area. We go into it's a main street, old school main street with 20 different places, and there's this organic grocery store, right? And so there's like 3 aisles. So I walked down one, Morgan walked down another one, and I didn't see her come out when I got to the other end. And she's in the middle of this aisle, and Morgan's very shy, and hugging this lady like soul sisters. Yeah, in the middle of like remote Northern California. So anyway, long story short, this lady sees Morgan and says, "Oh, I know you. I follow you. I'm from San Diego, and I'm up here with my mother." And then she looks at me, and we just start having this conversation and this soul connection. But anyway, we're having a conversation with her mother, who was probably 80. We're talking about ETs. We're talking about dimensional experiences. We're talking about this. We're talking about that. And then the friend, our new friend, she was like talking about how this kind of Mandela effect was coming to her. Where like she'd take out the trash. She had two bins. She put both of them out. She comes back the next morning, only one's out. And she used a couple other examples. I don't know. They're like glitches. They're like I call them super deja vus. I don't know if that's kind of what you're describing, but they're just you just I don't know. It's like snap, and snap is both this information came in. I already knew that, or already did that, or I experienced it. And snap is also what the hell's going on here, you know? Like, am I losing my
And
mind?
snap is also Snap is also a faster way, like whereas it used to take 45 minutes to drop into stillness and to activate this
Yeah.
zero gravity, like there was such effort. Like a lot of way showers like ourselves
Yeah.
have used so much
Yeah.
effort to find this beautiful still point. And it's kind of there in a snap now. It's really like a mental thought of activating the light body. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, it's just a shorter, more compressed, it's easier to get to. We don't have to work so hard. We
Yeah.
can relax a little bit. It's right there.
I think, yeah, and yeah, exactly, and that's what I was getting at. To me, it's the same type of energy. It's like, well, I think we're actually in meditation, if you want to call it. I might call it communion, but in connection, in communion, more and more of the time. And because, like riding a bicycle, we did it. We went through the old traditional methods, like you're talking about, and it took a while to clear the mind and all that. But now we're in that energy now. We're actually in sustaining that frequency. When somebody's fallen off of it, two or three other people are elevating through it. So that cosmic osmosis is affecting us too. I mean, this is happening very rapidly, very,
Yes,
very
it is.
rapidly. And
Yes,
it's,
it
you know,
is. I like what you said. You wake up and you know why we're here. I think a lot of us are now waking up and also knowing the other part of this, what we're supposed to be doing here. So not only is the soul knowing of why we're here and, oh yeah, we are these beings of light, probably from the future, coming here to help ourselves in this moment. Um, and also, I know we're learning what our specific purpose is, like what problem each of us is solving. And they're very specific. And we're kind of dialing down into this really specific work that we're each doing, how we're solving the problem, what our piece of the puzzle is, what our destiny is, what our work is, what our frequency is, what we can contribute. And I think that's coming in a whole new, significant way right now.
yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, and then you go back to what you said, which, because we can talk about it, and like you said, this is part of what's happening too, is because we're talking about it. This is why we're talking about it. And that's when you have that verbal throat chakra thing going too, in addition to the cosmic osmosis, it even makes it more powerful. And there you go with another integration. But then you go back to what you said earlier, which is the whole relaxation thing. It's like, it's like we don't have to reach for anything. When you're in that relaxed state, your intentions are in alignment. You don't have to think about being, and I'm not being totally extreme here, but purity and all that stuff. You are that. We know that it's coming in unconsciously and consciously, and like just like the meditation, you don't have to like grab for it and wait for it and move this out and clear this out. Just relax, and things just start coming to you. And some of those things are looking pretty supernatural and fantastical.
Yes.
Like like being in the mainland and not having the traditional resources that the 3D says you have to have, and ended up in a remote cabin for an indefinite period of time. And that's how this energy works too. But having the blessing, I mean, how do you put a dollar figure on that? How do you measure this type of abundance? It's not in dollars. It's not in dollars. It's in chance meetings in the natural grocery store in a town of 300 people. It's landing in a remote cabin for an indefinite period of time. It's merging with the bears the second night I'm here. And how does this stuff work? And then you know what I mean. I mean, it's just like galactic, animal experience, abundance flow. That all these things like that. It's like a moment by moment thing, as opposed to day by day or week by week or that type of thing.
Hey, you take one step towards consciousness and it takes 10 steps towards you. And you and Morgan are such great examples of living in this like complete moment to moment abundance. I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. You never know what you're gonna do from one, where money's gonna come from. And yet you're on the air like 24/7. Your show is just taking critical mass right now. It's just really taking off, and it's all about the same thing. It's wonderful. So you guys are doing it.
I think there's a lot of people doing it, and it's funny, you bring that up, because yesterday when we ran into this lady, I don't want to say her name because I don't have her permission, but so we run into her, and and she tells us, that she's seen, and we're like, wow, that's cool. But it's happened so many times that we're now starting to not expect it, but not be like overwhelmed by it. So anyway, the first thing out of her mouth is what you're talking about. It's the same type of energy jumping off the mountain. She goes, well, I'm here with my mom. I'm getting her set up. This is where she likes to live. And, so I tried her in San Diego and it just didn't work for her. Too many people and blah, blah, blah. And then she said, so I'm going home. I'm separating from my husband. We're selling the house. I'm going to have a little money. I don't know what I'm going to do. I keep hearing do this and do that and do this. I'm thinking that's insane. I can't do that. And she goes, but you know what? I watch people like you guys and other people, and I see what's going on. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not the only one. And I just got to take the jump. I got to take the leap. So that energy is probably, to me, that at least in the physical manifestation in my world right now, that energy of people taking these leaps and doing things that don't make sense, that's got to be just lighting up our DNA. You know what I mean? That's just got to be like an explosion in our DNA, because it certainly is in our personal experience. Yeah.
You mentioned something talking about this. I would call that getting in divine partnership with our abundance. And this is a subject I love talking about. So for you, divine abundance is like a beautifully golden paved road so that you and Morgan can just broadcast consciousness 24/7 and be totally taken care of. For others living in abundance, that means running a business. That means starting a practice, there's so many ways. And one of the things that I'm called to do is to help people get into divine partnership with abundance. You can call it wealth codes, you can call it divine abundance, but there's some principles that kind of come along with it. And I'd like to talk about some of those because I love sharing with those, just in case it might spark an idea in someone who's like on the verge of this. I love getting us all kind of up to speed, if you will.
Yeah, right on. Let's do it.
Right on. Hey, by the way, should we tell everyone we're both from Corpus Christi? I don't think we've mentioned it yet on the podcast.
We're both from Corpus Christi, Texas. Latin for the body of Christ. Energetically, I'm sure it's something substantially impactful portal, because it sounds arrogant. Or not arrogant. It sounds like, I was gonna.
Okay.
No, but
so
it's trippy. It's trippy. Well, it's trippy. I mean, really, it is kind of trippy, because I think I've met you, one other lady, and maybe 2, 3, 4 people in 8 years on in these circles, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so getting divine partnership with your abundance, there's what I've found, and what I'm kind of sharing step by step are these it's not that we can't do it, it's that we have these obstacles that we need to go around. So I'm going to address some of the obstacles, and you may see yourself in some of these. And the first one is realizing you, Todd, me, Giselle, all of us, we cannot do any of this alone. And a lot of us have been working in isolation, trying to get something going, get a teaching going, get a practice going, get a coaching business, getting something going, getting a business going all these years. And we're kind of like suffering in isolation, and you can't suffer in isolation. Those days are over. We're all sharing our gifts now. We're all basically finding our zone of genius, and that is going to be the zone of genius that somebody else needs. And that's how the whole geometry works now. There's a quote that I heard from Brandon Hawk that was awesome, and it was like, the most elite athletes and the most high performers have the most number of coaches. So, what does that tell you? That tells you that even Tony Robbins, even these guys at the top, they're all working with a team. So we're building these teams, and the teams are like, have to be pure of heart, people that really support you, all the way down to a pure way. They really want the best for you. And we're just doing this together. So we're looking for our teams, we're building it, we're redesigning our teams if they're not supportive, and we're kind of learning how to just disrupt the whole money-making scheme by finding our exact team, finding our exact purpose for being, just like Airbnb disrupted the entire lodging business. We're doing it direct to each other and with each other. So I love just relaxing and knowing, you know what, I'm going to just find my team to work with and not try and put so much pressure on myself. So that's number one, right?
Right.
Number two is overcoming the doubt that we have. Like, this is like a big one, like not knowing. You mentioned that we know why we're here. We know what we're doing. And this is like overcoming the doubt of what we're supposed to be doing. And this is where we go into our heart, we find certainty, we use our teams to reflect exactly why we're here. And this is huge because uncertainty can paralyze us in whatever form you're doing. Like, if you were uncertain about what you were doing, Todd, out there, like, God, Morgan, should we be doing this? You know, what would you be doing right now? You have a certainty about what you're doing. And where does that certainty come from?
Fear. I'm kidding. Where does it come from? Well, you know where it comes from. I mean, it comes from all of us. I mean, look at all the crazy shift we've done in the last, whatever years. I mean, it's just that what do you call that? I mean, you could call it knowing, you could call it guidance, direction, higher self, whatever you want to call it. But whatever it is, it doesn't take no for an answer.
That's
So
right.
that's my explanation.
And the key to certainty is just dropping more and more into your heart. That's where your certainty is going to be. That's where it always exists, beyond anything. And that goes right hand in hand with also knowing your destiny blueprint. Bashar says it the best. He says, follow your highest excitement. And we forget that sometimes. We forget, like, we're supposed to be doing something else, but it's really that simple. If it excites you, that's probably what you're supposed to be doing. Do you get excited about the work you're doing, Todd, you and Morgan? Doesn't it excite you every day to get up and do that?
Yeah, you were cutting out a bunch, but it's so weird. I got everything I needed to come in. I actually heard it. Maybe I heard it through the warble. It was warbling. Yeah. I mean, yes, yeah, we're excited about it. It's to me the trip is, first of all, you go through, and they're not massive for us. I mean, but it's, you go through, these energies come down. I felt them this morning. I look online and I saw that stuff that was being written by people like Sandra and such. But the other part is, how do you do it? All right. Like, how do you do it? I mean, I'm 8 years into this. I've been promising a webpage for 3 years. I'm having fits, I had to get up this morning and go to the store, and I'm not a non-morning person, but I came out, and Morgan's I'm going to the store, and she's like, what are you getting? I'm like, I don't know. So I drove up to this little country store. I was having a fit because I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting on this website. I'm tired of waiting on an independent stream, get out from under all this suppression. And I see I see the positive repercussions of what we're doing, even with the things in the physical that seem to be suppressing it. Now, where I'm going with this is to answer your question. But because to me, I also know through that guidance, or whatever you want to call that, I also know that it not only does it know what it's going to do, but it's going to know how it's going to do it. And I understand it's not in any way it's ever been done before, at least in my universe, and trying to be patient and detect what it is I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to do it while I'm dealing with my alpha male, basically. So yeah, we're very excited. Like nothing in the world, like nothing beyond our relationship. It's exciting. I want to do it. It all aligns, but how the hell do you do it? Now, this is where you come in.
Well, also for things to show up in this dimension, it takes the longest. Things happen on the etheric. Our intentions, our thought, things have already been decided and created. And we're just kind of bringing them down. We're bringing them in this dimension. And the last place for them to show up is right here in the physical. So for you, it's relaxing. You've already created this new network. You've already been at it. So I guess there's a little bit of patience needed on your part, but it's already been done. So there's more relaxation, lets it unfold. And it's unfolding for all of us. If we just kind of let go of the reins, go with the flow, the exact doors open that need to be opening, everything shows up that needs to be showing up. But we make these adjustments and we get our teams right. We follow our destiny, excitement correctly. We surround ourselves with high frequency DNA because we're sampling that. So if you're trying to create more wealth, you're around more wealth codes. If you're trying to create more spirituality, you're around more of that. Whatever it is you're trying to create, you're infusing that into your field because that's exactly how it works. And so we're aware of all this genetic sampling and we're doing that. And we're building our teams. So one thing that's been a breakthrough for me lately is getting with teams, getting with programs, getting with coaching programs, getting with education programs, taking courses, like really jumping in there and committing to things to improve my mastery and to improve the way I do business and to improve the way I'm coaching and relating to people. It's like everybody jump in because the people that have the zone of genius I need are out there sharing it. So I think there's a light worker kind of mindset that needs to kind of be dealt with. And that is number one, that we even need to go for abundance and wealth and prosperity. There's still a hangover, if you will, a lack hangover where you're not spiritual, you're trying to make money. I'm just out of the closet. I'm spiritual and I'm into wealth codes. Hello, here I am. I've just come out because we are here for the pleasure of creating. And I want a lot of tools to create with. And I want them there whenever I want, whatever tools I want, whenever, at all times. So there's getting over that mindset of like, is that okay to want that? Of course it is. That's a huge one.
Yeah. 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 I think and you know what? And the thing is, I think everybody wants the same thing. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think you know, we're all coming from a different place. So we all have different, different prejudices, different strengths, different weaknesses, proportionate to our life experience, but what I'm trying to get at is I don't think anybody wants too much money, but we don't want too little money or whatever the category is. Love, money, a roof, whatever the case is. And I think this is where what I find totally intriguing, you know, is in this arena because I came from, like you did, I came from an entrepreneurial background and a senior exec background. And I did a lot of stuff. It was a very competitive thing for me. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it wasn't all that good. But my point is that success was a big learning tool because of the non-fulfilling aspects that came with it. Now we're in this different paradigm. How do we do this? How do we do this? So much of it's alignment. I think relaxation is a great word to go with it, especially when it comes to quote unquote business things. I don't know. I don't know. At the end of the day, if what people call the higher self or my knowing says to do this or do that, I do it. And it also says, don't do this and don't do that. And that's where I've had to do the most work personally, is to let go, let go, let go. Vera Ingeborg and Augusti Sala talk about this. I mean, they're experiencing it. It's almost like a yo-yo that starts to level off, right? Or like a teeter-totter that starts to level off and not be so variant. But like if you look at their situation, they were leaving their apartment. Their guidance was you got to get out of your apartment. You're not going to have the money to pay it. So we're going to make sure that happens. So they pack up everything. And next thing you know, they're in Brazil. Somebody who follows their works, like, come on over here, and it costs this person thousands of dollars. And then their visas ran out and they couldn't get that worked out. So they had to go back to Europe, and they land back in Europe, and they have they take in that part of the yo-yo experience, where the universe says, here's the direction you're heading. Oh, and you're thinking, okay, this is where it's going to be. Oh, no, it's not going to be that. Let go again, surrender again, allow again, have faith again. And so, like you said earlier, and other people have been talking about, you go through this kind of what would seem like a dive, and you come out, and we're elevating out of these dives, and it's becoming easier, whether it's a trigger or whether it's a business block that we have or whatever the case is. We go into these fluctuations, and we come out of it at a much, much higher level. This is, to me, the new science of not just business, but living. It's like, and going back to what you said, the thing about resonation and relaxation, because the relaxation part of it, yeah, and like I said, maybe that's the biggest challenge we have from here out is getting used to it and being able to relax and not being so uptight, because
Yeah,
it does
totally.
flow. Well, we know this. We know this. We know when we are uptight and we're not relaxed, it doesn't flow. We know that.
That's so
So the
true.
opposite's got to be.
So true. I mean, relaxation is mastery. You know, somebody walks in a room and they're the most relaxed, and they're that's where it's at. Relaxation is mastery, and that's a frequency. And that's where we just keep moving when we activate all these things. All of everything's taken care of. We're in divine partnership with our abundance. And we're expanding. We're not just like everything is exponentially replicating now. So what we used to say, like what I need just to get by, that's now replicating into a bigger field of, wow, my needs are bigger now because I need these higher frequencies. I need new levels of self-care. I need new budgets to travel to all the sacred sites because there's some codes waiting for me there. I need all these, I want to dress like a goddess at all times. I need that frequency of beauty around me. So we're just like,
I need a shoe closet. I need a shoe closet, man.
yeah.
No,
And so,
no, you're right. You're right, though. You're
yeah,
absolutely no. That is a great. That's a great one. That's a great. To me, that was a great little flow there, right? I mean, okay, so we do need more, but it's not like more like 5 cars and all that stuff. It's like I want to do my thing. Like you said, do you wake up excited? Yeah, I want to do my thing. You want to do your thing. Everybody wants to do their thing,
yeah,
and do it to the fullest. And so we had these old programs, these old loops running, saying, well, you can't do this unless you do that. You can't do this unless you do that, or have that certificate, that degree, that website, that independent stream, that amount of money to do it, what that tech, whatever the case is. But that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. There's something about the level of reciprocation the universe is giving that doesn't equate to a linear or a 3D level. It is a quantum level. So you end
totally.
up putting this out, and what comes back, it may not be. It may be in the old vernacular, maybe okay, that's worth $10,000, but you end up getting $700 and a place to stay, food, dimensional experiences, whatever the code is. So it's a different kind of math, and
Totally.
but I do agree. Like the basics, these things that you're talking about are important. They are real time, and especially the parts in regard to collaboration, co-creation, mutual support, that type of thing, because that brings in the whole dynamic of what is the new commerce, what does it look like, you know. And I think the thing that really stands out the most of what you've been talking about is the fact that people come to the table without agenda. They actually come in alignment, looking for further congruence. And when something doesn't fit, you just go, you shake hands and part company, and maybe you end up meeting down the road or something. I don't know.
Mm. I love all those points. And I really want to stress the
I don't
point.
know anything. I'm from Corpus. I don't know anything.
Right? Okay. So we got to get the corpus out of you. Okay. The corpus or the old
It's
light
gone, long gone.
is like I just need enough money to pay my light bill. You know, I'm a light worker. I just want this. That is just kind of BS, because if you're following your highest excitement, it might look different. For example, my highest excitement has a lot of splendor in it. It is high level
Yeah,
high excitement. So my need
that's
definition has
right.
totally changed. I don't need to pay the light bill. I need like a trip to Egypt. You know what I mean? And to turn the lights on there.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
totally different. And we
yeah,
have to
yeah.
have permission for that.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree with that. And the other thing too, God, I read something this morning, and like 3 times it's come up in my head since I'm talking to you. Things that you're saying, it's the same thing. And of course, that's another thing that's happening. People saying the same thing, getting the same thing at the same time. More and more of that's happening. But it had to do with a couple of things, and one of them had to do with this whole. Well, in their own words, I think it was a woman. In her own words, it was talking about what do you want to call it, the lessening of the linear, and basically the relaxing with that, because when you relax with that, then it starts operating at a different level, so there is no urge, or there is no need to go create the website right now and do your first independent stream and all this stuff. It's not there because there is no timeline, linear timeline. It's all moment to moment to moment. And as long as we're trying to measure these moments in linear time, we're blocking it. We're not relaxed. That's an unreal illusionary pressure that we don't have anything to do with anymore.
Totally. And also creation is not happening in a linear way. It happens holographically, spherically. So it's not happening A to B, B to C. It's happening multidimensionally. That's what we're responding to. Our relationship with the multiverse, having the beauty and the freedom to just live at creator level, create what we want, and then to put the intention from the heart base out there, and then things start going off as they're supposed to in a beautiful, magical, hey, surprise me universe way.
Yeah. Yeah. Allow it to occur in whatever way the universe has in store, because that's our higher, rather than some way we think that's what got us in trouble in the first place, which we thought we as in the energy that we all is a part of us. You can call it the Antichrist, the lesser God, whatever you want to call it, thought it was smarter than the creator, which is us. So we create this character or this avatar or whatever you want to call it, or these realms or whatever, and we lose contact with our originality, if you want to refer to it that way, and think that we're in command here, which we are, but not without being in alignment with what's truly in command. I love this game. It's like a big jigsaw puzzle.
Yes.
So let us know how we can let people. You got 2-3 minutes here, and I wasn't. I usually leave time to go longer, but we have a special broadcast we're going to do with our brother Broder Bilal, a third one on Soulogy, and sometimes I do these spontaneous things. And anyway, I woke up this morning and I said him and I need to do this show, and I thought no, I let my ego mind come in, and I just got about my business. And the next thing you know, he messaged me and says we need to do a show. This is another unicorn, very, very private, so that'll be a pretty special show. So, but where can we find you? Anything, any announcements you might have, anything like that?
On our last show, I talked about sharing my book for free, and I never got around to doing that. So let me tell everyone now, to get a free copy of Codes of Immortality, all you have to do is text on your phone to the number 31996. And if someone's in the chat column, they can type this out. 31996 is where you text the word immortality. And that will come up, and that's all about epigenetics, DNA, turning on these codes, turning on our human aspect, getting more God in the body. So that is my gift to all of you guys. And Todd, I want to thank you so much for having me. I love what you're doing, and keep doing it. And love to everyone listening.
Thank you, Giselle. You guys check out Giselle. She's on Facebook and a few other places, and you can put the links in the comments so people can find you. We're going to run off and do another broadcast starting about 5 minutes, and then we got another one right after that. And I can't remember who that one is, but peace out. Thanks, Giselle. Long live Corpus Christi, Texas.
Go Rachel.